we're heading to plant and food researchers Lincoln site with Cosmo Kentish Barnes. He's chatting with Dr. Gert-Jan Morgry about his research into a new plant-based dairy offering.
Now, Gert, you are driving the barley dairy project. Tell me about that.
Sure. It's been a really cool project. It involves a few more researchers than just myself, but it's been a project where we've taken advantage of our ability to breed for specific traits to get the best cultivars, and then developing processes linked to those to make a milk base and also to look at how it might ferment and turn into a yogurt. The yogurt end has been really my end of the story, but it's a piece where we brought a number of our sets of skills together to deliver what we see as a cool technology.
You've got some containers of barley in front of us, and they are cultivars that have been developed here.
That is correct. So these are some of the ones that are nearing the end of their development. Hard to see that on radio, but if we think about in the dairy alternatives, we actually look for different properties. And in this case, we've got a hull-less barley. And an advantage of that is that when we use that to make products, we end up with less waste. Currently, quite a lot of waste is produced still with making dairy products from sources like this. And so if we think about a related product like oat milk, when people make this product, then a step includes the removing of some of the solids, which we don't like so much. It makes things gritty, and this could be a way of reducing that. Yeah.
So how did this project start?
It started actually from these cultivars. There's previous work done on some of the barley that is in front of us, where we found that some of them had a higher content of beta-glucan, a beneficial fibre, and the research had been done around breeding lines that had higher concentrations. And so that project was completed, and we unfortunately didn't quite commercialise some of that, but it was a resource that was available. And so when we were thinking about new projects, this one came up, and we talked about what might a new product with this barley look like.
And of course, barley generally here is used for beer making and also for stock feed. So in the long run, if this is commercialised, this would be of benefit to arable farmers.
For sure, yeah.
Because you're adding value to the barley.
That's right, and because it's a specific variety with beneficial traits, we'd like to think that it brings a premium to those that grow it.
So how do you make milk and potentially yogurt out of barley? What does your research process involve?
It's a piece of work that was carried out by Irene Ho, a colleague of mine, and so they looked at ways of taking the barley and processing it in such a way that we end up with a milk alternative product. So they grind it up and add the components needed to make a milk base you might be familiar with off the shelf. And the intent with that piece of work was to eliminate any of that waste and bring all of the barley across into that beverage. And the research was really around how you do that. How do you keep something nice and stable and achieve those desirable attributes in terms of flavour and texture, the way the drinking experience of this product.
And you've got a container of milk here, so it looks like you've achieved your initial goals.
Yes, through several iterations, they did indeed find a way of creating one of these products and found a different way of doing this. So it was a really neat piece of work, and great to see how by working with the breeders and then linking that with the processing in the way that we were able to deliver an improvement on these products. Yeah.
I guess a lot of sensory experiments need to be done along the way.
Definitely. Not everything has to be tested through sensory, fortunately. We do have some really cool equipment that we can lean on to really understand and measure some actual values, but definitely tasting is part of the work that we do and why this lab is so fantastic.
We are standing in a brand spanking new food technology laboratory, I guess.
Yeah, we've been fortunate that we've been able to invest and upgrade our facilities. So we've got a beautiful new lab. We're just a day away from officially opening it. So very excited to start really getting stuck in and doing some of this actual tasting and bits of our research. Yeah.
Now, beside the milk, you've got a container of yogurt. I guess you needed to add bacteria in for it to work?
Yes. So when this was developing, we started talking and thinking about what might the next product look like. If we've got this really good base, what would it take to ferment that into a yogurt product? So like you said, we needed a culture that starts it off and ferments it to bring the tartness and the other flavors that you would associate with the yogurt product.
Does this particular barley cultivar mean that the yogurt potentially is going to be quite high in fibre?
Fibre, definitely. So I mentioned at the start, the beta-glucan is a beneficial fibre that is high in this product. So it's more than just general fibre, it is that beta-glucan which can bring a health benefit.
So lots of potential in terms of marketing.
Yeah, we're excited about this. We think that this is a really cool opportunity and something a bit different from what is being offered right now. And I hope to see this being successful long term for sure.
Who is the target audience for the milk and the yogurt?
I think the target is changing. I think we're moving to more mainstream consumers, so people that just incorporate it into their day-to-day routines.
So people who might use soy milk, for example, or almond milk.
That's right. We're not talking people that might be fully vegan or anything. We're talking about people that are currently buying the oat milks and other. They might just look for little changes they can make or just some new flavour experiences that they might enjoy. So we see that the uptake is mainstream consumers more so now.
How would you describe the taste of the milk and the yogurt?
We haven't actually tasted the yogurt combined with the barley yet because of where we are with the research. The barley milk is definitely, it's got like a creamy texture to it, a little bit of a hint of barley. It carries through, but overall quite pleasant, I think.
So where are you at now in terms of the process and how close are you to commercialising these foods?
Where we are now is that we've got cultures that we think are looking really promising, and we really just at a point where we need to bring that all together and actually taste test and see what those improvements look like for us and identify the next steps. And in terms of commercializing, I think we're pretty close to looking to working with people on this, either in the form of a barley product, but also as a technology, it can stand on its own. And we can see being applied to other bases as well if needed.
Now, where does the funding come from to do this work?
So this work was funded internally, and we make a case why we believe there's an opportunity for us here, and that was recognised by the leadership team and allowed us to progress some of this work. So in terms of longer term, the benefit, if this is as successful as we hope it will be, we typically would look for some royalties or other ways of seeing a little bit of those benefits come back to us so we can keep doing the research and keep putting out new technologies and other ways of adding value to the economy in that way.
So bringing money back into plant and food research to help fund more research.
That's right, and hopefully the farmers benefit along the way and all those that are part of that value chain.
The potential goes way beyond Aotearoa.
We believe so, yes. While we've seen a period of consolidation, if we look across the globe, the plant-based eating continues to grow and people are continuing to look for products in this area. So there's definitely continuing to be opportunities to work here and do some good.
The Barley Dairy Project's Dr. Gert-Jan Morgry there at Plant and Food Research in Lincoln.